Noninkables. Hello and welcome to Noninkables. We are on episode number 13 of the podcast. I think I'm going to change the published date of the week to Tuesdays because Mondays I'm always either asleep because I was on call Sunday night or I have 5 million meetings. And I feel like it always gets delayed to Tuesday anyway, so might as well just make it Tuesdays. So we finally have 2 full play sets of Tamatoa, the 6-drop, or as some people call him, teenage Tamatoa, adolescent Tamatoa. We have 2 full play, so 8 cards of regular plus 1 foil. And that is after opening probably the equivalent of like 6 cases plus 2 boxes. So a ton of cards. I feel like the drop rate for the Tamatoa is so little this time. I also saw my first enchanted Tamatoa in person at one of the competitions we played at this weekend. It was very, very pretty. And after he played it, I was like, ooh, can I see that please? Can I just hold it for a second? And then I banished it. But yeah, so that happened. But yay, we finally have 2 full play sets of Tamatoa, which is very exciting. I was going to post stuff on the YouTube channel, but my life has been completely consumed by Epic the Musical. And so I didn't. I recorded stuff and then I didn't feel like editing it. And instead, I've literally been listening to the Epic the Musical on repeat and then watching TikToks of people playing parts from Epic the Musical and then watching reactions to people listening to Epic the Musical. So Epic the Musical is not a technically a musical. It's a series of concept albums written by Jorge, oh geez, I don't know his full name, and everyone just calls him Mr. Jalapeno. Jorge Rivera Herons, and it is basically a musical version of The Odyssey, and it is so good, and the songs are always stuck in my head, and so I'm always listening to them, and even if I'm not playing the music, it's just what's playing in my head. And at the competition this weekend, I kept humming it, and then somebody was like, what are you humming? And I was like, I don't know, it's something from Epic, but I don't know what it is. And I started humming it more. And then he was like, oh, Story of the Mind. Because it's also a theater person, a theater obsessed person. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. Just be wary that it will rip out your heart. And I feel like sometimes there are songs in that musical where I will start crying immediately just from hearing it. So because of that, nothing on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to work on that this week, but no promises. Lord Canito did start their ranked season. So up until like Friday, it was basically just like practice. And then they reset it on Friday. And now it's like the ranked season for this set. And so obviously it reset. I started playing. I lost 5 rounds in a row, just 5 straight rounds. And I was like, oh, apparently I don't know how to play this game anymore. I think my MMR went down. The lowest I went to was like 1129. You start at 1200, and then when you lose MMR, and then if you win, you gain MMR. So it went down. And then I think I won like maybe a couple rounds after my 5 straight losses, and I got back to like 1200, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing now while I'm behind. And then since then, I've been playing a little bit on there. I had to change my username because I felt kind of embarrassed. I was QQ before, but now I'm just like an emoji. So I was like, oh, I apparently don't know how to play this game at all. But I think it's a good place to practice. Although I do think that I don't know, there's something about the randomization of the cards that doesn't feel very random. Because tell me why. I think I played a blue-red deck on there and I got all 4 big Sisus. I played a blue steel. I got 4 T-bows. Like, not just in one game, in like 2 or 3 games. And then I think when I played Gary on there for our MGL league, I got like 4 fishbone quills. I don't know. I feel like maybe my luck is just better in person. Brian did also bring up the point that I pay more attention when I play in person because when I'm playing on Lord Canito, I'm sometimes like shopping online or knitting or something else. Like recently I've been knitting this shirt. And so sometimes I'm doing that while I'm supposed to be playing, and then I do dumb things. So the MGL Hybrid League continues. So first round I played Gary and lost. Last round I played Tegan and she was playing red blue, which was unexpected for me because up till this point she had been playing blue steel kiwi birds, and I thought she was gonna stay on that, but she played red blue, and I was like, what? not prepared. And then we ended up drawing. And then actually, because this is now Tuesday, I've played week 3 as well. So week 3, I played Parker, and Parker was playing like an amber steel aggro deck with Rapunzel's Tower. So it's the location that gives you like additional willpower. And I ended up being Parker 2-0, best or 2-game format for this league. Although in the first game, because I was not paying attention, playing on Lord Canito and knitting at the same time, I did totally quest with Belle. And so then Parker was able to run a Daisy into my belt and then Rapunzel it for full 3 cards. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about Rapunzel. How did I forget about Rapunzel playing against Amber Steel? Such a noob mistake. I feel like I should know better by now. But I was distracted. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to stop playing on the couch. I'm going to move my laptop to a table and sit, not knit at the same time, have no distractions. Then I played much better after that. And I also feel like I got kind of lucky on my draws. I had answers to a lot of the things. So now hopefully, so after round 2, so after my draw with Tegan and my loss to Gary, in our East Bay 2 pod, I was ranked 12 out of 12. So last place. So hopefully with this win, my record is now 1-1-1. I will at least not be last place. So that was our like hybrid league. So I played Tegan, I think, on Wednesday, and then of last week, and then I played Briguy yesterday. On Friday, we went to our usual location, DVY, and played in they don't do like a league, it's just like constructed. And I ended up getting 2nd place, which is pretty good. Tyler ended up getting 1st, of course, always, whatever. I say that like I'm mad, but he's my idol. And so one day I will be that good and consistent. We did play I don't know if we played the same deck the deck I played was basically, I said, Tyler, what deck do you think is the best for this set? And he sent me a deck, and so I played that after he did like a quick, like, this is how you play the deck. It's the same blue steel deck I've been playing. I think we did a couple modifications since I played Gary like 2 weeks ago, but the same deck is that I used for Tegan's game. And I will post a link below of the deck since it's now published anyways. But I don't know if Tyler had made some changes and or was testing out some new things. But my record ended up being 3-0-0. We played best of 3 format. So my game record was 6-1-0. So I did lose 1 game and I won 6. So I 2-0'd everybody except for 1. And then Tyler's record was just 6-0-0. So he didn't lose any games. So which is why he was 1 and I was 2, even though technically we won 3 rounds. We were the only 2 people who won 3 rounds. It was like 13 people total. And I mean, one of my wins was technically not. Once again, so last week I got 1st place at our local because I had a bye, and the other one I won a die roll that was like actually a tie. This time I did win 2 rounds, but one of the rounds it was a tie and we did a die roll and I won the die roll. And I think the game that I lost I should have won, but I was not thinking very well. You know when you like make a decision you know it's bad. Also, like by that time Tyler had finished his game, so he was watching, and I like thought about it, and then I went to go ink something, and then he went and I was like, ooh, I knew it. That was the thing I was thinking about, not inking. And then I quested my Tamatoa, and instead of playing Great Stone Dragon, which I was like very on the fence, I was like, I feel like it should be Great Stone Dragon. I played Lucky Dime for free instead, and that was not the right choice because at that time it was still too early. It was a mirror. It was a blue steel mirror, so it was like too early to be Lucky Diming. I should have played the Great Stone Dragon and had way more resources for my future turns, but I was not thinking by that time, and so made a mistake. And afterwards, like, Tyler was like, oh, you should have done this. And I was like, yeah, I know. When I played it, I was like, dang it. Okay, but so first round I played, I think these are from the right one. Yeah, first round I played Nick, who was on purple steel. And both games I was on the draw, but I think because in the beginning of this set, Tyler was like, oh, you should play Purple Steel because it's like a very fair deck and like really will hone your abilities. And I played it and then I kept losing. And I was like, I think I'm not ready to face my abilities, my lack of abilities. I need a deck that will give me an advantage. But I think Purple Steel is, I mean, sometimes I play it and I'm just like, I lose automatically. But I think in that one I got kind of lucky. And I think I played Nick and I don't know if he'd practice that deck a lot or not. Round 2, I played Daryl, who I have literally been collecting microbots for him. Look at these. And every time I forget to bring them. But every time I open cards, I just save all the microbots for him because he's trying to make a microbots deck. And I've probably given him like 40 microbots at this point. But I need to remember to bring these. He was playing this red-green deck that had like Queen of Hearts and the Scar, the 4/2 with Ward, where like if a damaged character challenges, you draw a card. But I think, unfortunately for him, I was able, basically every time he played a Queen of Hearts, the 2/6 that puts damage when a new character is played, I was able to get rid of it. And so his Scar never really got any value. So we played 2 games. The first game I was on the play and I won. First, second game I was on the draw and I won. And then I think we tried playing another game with he was playing a Jafar wheel just for fun. And then luckily, Brian had been playing a Jafar wheel all week. So I was like, I know what to do. Just kill all the Jafars. Don't let that thing quest and draw cards. Also, he was playing the card Show Me More. Oh, I have one right here. Show Me More. So each player draws 3 cards, and he played that on turn 2. And I was like, oh, this is great. I have so many cards. Let me play this Fishbone Quill that I usually ink. And I will Fishbone Quill a bunch of stuff and ramp like crazy. And then at some point, I think I got a Great Stone Dragon out. And then I was like, ink, ramp with Quill, ramp with Great Stone Dragon. And so my deck got out of control because I had so many resources. And then the last round I played, this also says Nick. Did I play 2 Nicks? I'm so confused. I don't remember. But it was a Blue Steel Mirror. First one I was on the play, I won 19-5. Second one I was on the draw. And it was like very close, like in terms of our lore count. And then it went to turns. And like he happened to get like a dime. And I couldn't kill the Tomtoa. And so he ended up winning that one. And then the next game, we obviously were at turns for that game, so we didn't have any more time. And so we just rolled the dice and I won the die roll. So that was Friday. And then Saturday, I think I worked Saturday. And then Sunday, we went to play at Game Kastle Redwood City. They had a 1K. So it's like our first money competition that we've played in since playing an SCG last year in Vegas, I think that was around the same time. And I got 3rd place, guys. I got money. I won money in an envelope. Where am I going to use $100 bill? I'm just going to take this to the bank along with my Chinese New Year money that I haven't deposited. But I won money. It was so exciting. And definitely not expected because I think Saturday maybe was when I was practicing on Lord Canito and lost like 5 straight rounds. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed. I'm going to quit while I'm behind. So like I knew it was going to be a pretty big competition, and it was in Redwood City, which is like across the Dumbarton Bridge. So like on I'd say like South San Francisco-y type area. So like where we normally play at Contra Costa is, I would say like there's more, I think people have more issues with getting the cards that they need. A lot of times it seems, and like people are actually limited by like not having cards, whereas I feel like in that area there's a lot of like software engineers and people with money, so then they just buy the cards that they need. Like money is not an issue, luck is not an issue, they can just like buy whatever they need on TCG Player. And so I knew like people would be playing the optimal decks, like that wouldn't be a limiting factor. Also really good people play out there, so like I knew that Ed was going to be there, North American champion. Chris Louis is going to be there. I didn't know that, but he was there. And he also, I think, placed really well in maybe Dallas or something, like top 64 at least. It's probably higher. Sorry if you're listening and I'm not giving you your proper cred, but I know that you're very good. And like a lot of other people who are very good would be playing in this. It was $40 entry. So I took blue steel, and then Brian played green steel. And I will post a link to the Melee and also to ink decks. So I think most of the decks were uploaded to ink decks. And so you can see it there. So you'll have a copy of my deck list as well. And yeah, I did so much. Oh my gosh, I'm still like in shock. I did so much better than I thought. And like I had a kind of rough start going in. And so let's get into it. So let's see if I can pull up my stuff. So round 1, I played someone called Lore MSA. His name was Matt. He was on Amber Steel, and it was a 2-round format. I started at table 4, and they were also streaming, and the people at table 1 didn't want to stream. The people on table 2 didn't want to be on the stream. The people at table 3 didn't want to be on the stream. They didn't even ask us because I was already like, I don't want to be on stream. And so the people on table 4, like the people organizing knew them, or people on table 5, so we were table 4, table 5 knew them, and so they were on stream because I was like, I don't want to be on stream. And so the first game I was on the play, and I won 20-10. Second game I was on the draw, and it was not good. So they got to 17, and I was only at 2, and I was able to get rid of like enough so that they wouldn't be able to quest and win. However, they top decked a Cindy that they shifted onto their Cindy, and so then they were able to win like a big Cindy. So the first game was a draw, and so then of course moved down tables. The second round, I played a blue steel mirror against Sorcerer's Hat YT. Ooh, I wonder if that's YouTube. I should look up their channel. And did I write down a name? I did not write down a name. Sorry, I don't remember what your name is. The first game, so I won the die roll. First game I won 20-9. Second game I lost 0-20. I don't remember what happened. But lost that one. And then in the third round, it was the first round I won. I played against Nick, whose name is Nick Haradze on here, I'm guessing. And he was on Purple Steel. First game I was on the play, I won 20-13. Second game was like super, super close. It was like, so I was at 13, he was at 18, and then he had a goat, so it was 19. And then, so he was at 18. This is like with a goat on board. I think he had something else on board. I was able to get rid of the other thing on board. So he literally had to quest, get to 19, and then if he could play anything that bounced the goat, or like another goat, or if he had a white rose, or if he had giant cobra, or if he had, what's that character? It's a 2-drop. I want to say Northampton, but that is not the name of that card. The amethyst card. I'm going to look it up. I don't know why I want to say Northampton, Northumbria, and that is literally not the card. Let's see. It is a purple card. Maybe there's North in it. Is that why? Honeymarin, Northundra Guide. That's why. Okay. So literally he had probably like 18 cards in his deck that would have gotten him that extra lore. And he played a rabbit. Didn't see anything. Played a dock, nothing. So he saw 1 card from drawing for turn, 1 from the rabbit, and 2 more from the dock, and still didn't see a bounce or anything that would get him that instant lore. And so I was able to quest the next turn and win. And that started off my winning streak, which was exciting. But that was like a super close, super, super, super close game. I feel like I won by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. And then in round 4, I played Louis, aka Absoluis, on Melee. And Louis was playing Amber Steel. And the first game I was on the play and I won. He got to 14 lore, and then I was able to Tamato a dime. And then the second game, he got to 19 lore. So he was at 18 lore, I was at 5, and then he got to 19, and then I was able to Tamato a dime. So I think in both those games, for some reason at the end, I was holding on to, I had enough ink, like 13, 14, no, it had to been at least like 14 ink, and could go to 15 ink so that I could play. I think in one of the games I had to play the Tamatoa, play the dime, and then dime the Tamatoa. And then in the other game, I was able to quest with teen Tamatoa, play the dime for free, and then play a Tamatoa and dime. And I think in both games, like I had, towards the end, like my hand was 2 big Tamatoas and a dime, or 2 dimes and a big Tamatoa. And I feel like that was when my brain was like clicking and working, and I was like, okay, I am having like a good brain moment where based on the way I'm playing, I'm ending up with the cards that I need in my hand. Because sometimes I feel like the people who play really well, like even if they have a bad hand starting out, somehow they like because of how they ink and how they play the other cards, they end up with what they need at the end. Whereas when I started playing, I felt like a lot of times in the end I would end up with like T-bows or like other cards that are not helpful. And so I feel like maybe I got better at playing, and so that's why both times I ended up with the cards I needed, or maybe I just got lucky, who knows. Okay, so that was round 4, and then in round 5 I played Kevin Kagi T, who is one of our locals. He was playing green purple, and the first game I was on the draw, and it was weird because I think both games he had shift. At least in the first game, he had Shift Diablo. So green, purple, Shift Diablo, so draw a card and I draw a card. And I couldn't get rid of Shift Diablo for like many turns. I feel like I couldn't get rid of Shift Diablo for probably until like turn 5 or 6. So he was just drawing. He had like so many cards. But I think because it's green, purple, there's not a lot of removal. Like he can bounce stuff back to my hand, but that's kind of it. So he was able to bounce. He bounced, I think, like a Huron back to my hand at some point, and like a Tamatoa back to my hand. But then I would just replay it, and they both have on play effects. So like I was like not mad that he bounced it, and I had so much other stuff. And so in the first game I won, and I think I had 1 lore. Second game I was on the play. That was on the draw. Second game was on the play, and it was like a little bit better for him. He got to 6. I was at 15, and then I think I had like 2 Tamatoas and dime. And then I know that in the second game I did a bunch of like item Scrooge. Like I think I was able to twice exert items to play Scrooge for free, and that really helped keep the board clear of all the other stuff. And then I drew like a ton of my Steel Song cards, so like Zeus's and Strengths and all that stuff. Which reminds me, in one of the Amber Steel games I played against Louis, I had to ink 3 Strengths. I think I turned 1 inked, like my hand was all uninkable. So there was like turn 1, I think I inked a Tamatoa. Turn 2, I inked a Strength, played a Sail, inked another Strength. And I think somewhere like turn 4, I inked another Strength. I thought I was going to lose, but it ended up being okay. I think in this game, I was able to play a lot of free Scrooges. And then I think also Kevin did some weird plays where he like attacked one of my Scrooges with, I want to say he attacked it with like a Prince John and another character. Like didn't even, like the Prince John wasn't even buffed up with crab or anything, which I thought was interesting, which is probably maybe an error on his part. And then I also made an error where I forgot I had a lucky dime in my discard, and so like I played Tamatoas and got back like popsicles, and I could have just gotten back a lucky dime and won. So that was my own fault. I probably made that game last longer than it needed to be, but yeah. And then okay, so that was round 5, and then after round 5 I was 3rd. So for round 6 I paired into Adrian, aka Yurxa, who was 1, and so we ended up IDing. And then Adrian had at that point thought maybe we should play for standings, so whoever can go first, whoever is higher seed gets to go first in quarterfinals. And then I was like, but Adrian, what if I lose and then I'm not in the top 8? And then he was like, no, we should just play it. And I felt like this was back to like when we played at Games of Berkeley for set champs. It was like the last round, and he was like, oh, we could ID, and I was like, no, we should play it because like I don't want to do the math to see if we can ID or not. And then we played, it was draw anyways at Games of Berkeley for that set champs. And then this time we like sat down, and then Ed, he was like sitting watching one of his friends play, and he saw us sat down. He was like, are you guys gonna play it out? You're not just gonna ID? And then I was like, he wants to play for seeding. And then I was like, no, don't do that. And so I think because of Ed's intervention, he was like, oh, okay, you want to just ID? And I was like, yeah. And so then I got to ID. So then I went to go get dinner. I was going to go to Quickly because there's a Quickly nearby, like a boba store. But then on the way walking to Quickly, I was like, oh, there's a Hawaiian barbecue. Let me just get Hawaiian barbecue instead. So I got Hawaiian barbecue. It was delicious. And then in between Swiss and top 8, they did a deck check. I had to switch out some of the sleeves for my cards because they were like a little bit bent, all in the same corner. I think because of my horrible shuffling skills. And luckily I had brought sleeves with me, like extra ones, so I just switched them out because there were some people who had, one of the guys was like, I have nails, and so my nails like dented some of the sleeves, and he didn't bring extra sleeves, so then he had to buy new sleeves. So luckily I didn't have to buy new sleeves. And then in quarterfinals, I matched into Kenneth. So still 3rd going into after round 6 going into quarterfinals. I was third. Nope, that's a lie. I was fourth because I think one of the people, because of some, I don't know, whatever, however they calculate on Melee, I ended up being fourth going in. And so I matched into the fifth place person, which was Kenneth. Kenneth was playing Blue Steel Oswald version, but also with queens. And I felt like I was at an advantage because I was like, I've played a queen item deck from set 4. I know exactly how this queen works. And Brian had been playing with a blue steel deck back in set 6 that had Oswald. And I was like, I know how these Oswalds work. So I was like, okay, Oswald cannot survive. Queen cannot survive. I must get rid of them immediately. And so first game, because I was the higher seed, I got to go first. So obviously I went first. I get to choose to go first. So I went first the first game. And I think Kenneth played an Oswald, and I was like, immediately, no, you're not surviving. And then I think the next turn he played a queen. I was like, no, queen is also not surviving. And then I think at one point I Zeused an Oswald because I was like, this card is so powerful if it goes off that I cannot let it survive. And I think Kenneth also had pretty bad luck where his Oswald only hit like one time. And he had played like maybe 3 Oswalds and gotten to ink like several times for... There was one turn where he had 2 Oswalds out and he inked, and so both of them got songs. And I was like, oh, yes, this is the best. And I think he played Scrooge and his Scrooge miss, and I was like, oh, I'm just having a great luck for me, not good luck for him. So I won the first game, and then the second game, I was on the draw, and I also won. That game, I think, was kind of weird because I think we both missed ramp in that game. But I could be confusing with another game. But I think that's what happened. So that was quarterfinals. And then I didn't realize this, but like in between, because I'm normally not in the top 8, but in between rounds in the top 8, they take your deck back to like keep it safe so you can't like do any changes to it, I guess. Because that's what they do at the DLC. Because John, the judge, was like, can I have your deck? And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, is this how things work in the top cut? I didn't know that's how things worked because I've never been here. So that was interesting. And then for the semifinals, I played Adrian, who was playing red blue. And then let me see what I wrote, because I wrote to the guys of the team afterwards, because I don't remember. I feel like I immediately just forget. Okay, so let's see. Oh, it was so funny because prior to playing Adrian in semifinals, like I knew the top 8 was like, I was on blue steel, Ed was on blue steel, Chris was on green steel, Kenneth was on blue steel, and everybody else was on red blue. So I knew I probably had to play red blue. So I texted the group. I was like, how do I play red blue? Because I hadn't played them my only experiences playing red blue was losing to Gary, 0-2'd, and then drawing with Tegan. But that was like before I practiced more blue steel and actually learned how to play blue steel. So then I texted the group and I was like, hey, how do I play against red blue? And I think they didn't respond immediately. And so I didn't see anything until after. And then I played Adrian, and the first game I was on the draw and I won. And then the second game my hand was so bad. I think I just needed to shuffle more. But I mulled all 7 because I didn't have any items or ramp. And what I got back was no ramp. And then all my cards were 6 cost and above. So like it was a lot of like ink and pass. It was so bad. So I lost the second game. And then game 3, I had like no way to draw cards, which is pretty weird for this deck. And then I also think I played some stuff incorrectly. I think one of the ones I inked a last cannon, which I don't think I should have done. And just like, yeah, I think I made mistakes and that's why I lost. And so I lost to Adrian, and then Adrian and Legend Gary, or Gary, were, so not Gary, our team Gary, different Gary. They were top 2 and they decided to split because I think Gary had like a really far drive. He like drove down from Sacramento. And so in the end, after finals, the technically the standings were Adrian was 1, Gary was 2. They ended up splitting the money for 1 and 2, and then I was 3rd. And then 4th was Typical, who I don't know who that is. 5th was somebody named Dadam. 6th was Ed. 7th was Kenneth, and 8th was Chris. So it went basically red, blue, blue steel, red, blue, blue steel, green steel, blue steel, green steel. So red blue at the top once again. But it doesn't actually make me want to play red blue because I don't like it. Even though I played it last set and I played it in set 4, I just feel like I now, because a lot of the red blooms now, one, don't include Be Prepared, which is like my favorite red card anyways. And then I think when I've tried it, I've bricked. And I feel like blue steel right now is, at least our deck is a little more item heavy, and I love playing Scrooge for free. It just seems unfair. It seems unfair when you can tap for items, play Scrooge for free, and then you haven't used any of your ink. And then you could maybe play and then you can banish one of those items that you tap to play a bell, and then you could still play something else with your ink. Like, that just seems very unfair, and I like it. I like that my deck is unfair to other people, especially when it works for me. Not so much when it doesn't, but so yeah. So I ended up 3rd. My overall match record was 4-1-3. So the loss was from semifinals, and then the 3 draws, 2 of them were real draws, 1 was an ID, and my game record ended up being 12-5-0, and I had 40 points. First place, Adrian had 45, second place had 41, fourth place was 37, onwards. So I did pretty good, and I won some money, so that was very, very, very exciting. Of course, I took a picture with my money, which is the thumbnail, and then yeah, that was the ending of the weekend. What else? Oh, I think at some point over the week I did also buy one of these gift boxes, and people are saying like it was poor quality because it was paper, but I think the box is actually okay. It's just these dividers. They're punch out, so they look pretty. I gotta file down these rough edges, I feel like, but I think the box is actually okay quality. So that was it for our weekend. This week I already did my match for the MGL League. I'm going to practice more on Lorcanito and try to improve my 5 straight losses streak. And then this weekend, I think Friday we're probably, I don't know. Let me see if I am actually, okay, I'm not working. So we will probably play at DBY on Friday. And then, although who knows, because Saturday we are going to go play at another pretty good Lorcana tournament at Gold Star up in Sacramento. And it is kind of a far drive, and it starts at 9 a.m. And so I don't know if we're going to go to DBY on Friday, but maybe. The competition there, the first place gets 2 cases, not 2 boxes, 2 cases of Arcasia's Island and a foil playmat. Second place gets 1.5 cases and a mat. Third place gets 1 case and a foil deck box. I'm interested in the foil deck box because I know how to make the foil mats now, but I don't know how to make the foil deck box. And then I think that's it for the weekend. There is actually a tournament at Fanimage this weekend on Sunday where the first place gets like a booster box, and the entrance fee is only $20, but it's like a random booster box. So I feel like it's probably gonna be like set 3 or set 4 or set 5, which are like not very good EV. And I'm also working Sunday night, so I'm not gonna be going to that. But I did want to show off my bell mat, which was a little bit distracting during the entire competition. But it was very pretty, and it has multiple colors of foil. So look at her. Oh my gosh, look at her. So she's got gold foiling on her cape, like around her head and that like outline part. And then there's also some gold foiling on the lantern portion. And then there's 2 colors of pink on the rose petals. And I was trying out like a new iron-on. So I was using like a giant heat press Cricut thing that's like a big old square. And then I was trying to use like a small little iron for some of the detail stuff that I was adding on afterwards. And I think I melted some of the foil. So there's like some imperfections, especially over here. But it was a good experiment. So I think I was going to add like even more stuff on the bell mat, but I think it's enough. It's like too much shimmer. And the shimmer is a little bit, the foiling, it makes that part of the mat like a little bit stickier than the rest of the mat. So I think if I do too much, then it may like make it harder to like put cards down and move them around and stuff. But that is my bell mat, all done. And then I feel like all week I was working more on the bell mat than like practicing for the competitions, which probably would have been better, and maybe I would have done better had I practiced more. And then I think this week, depending on time, it's always hard to decide what to spend time on. If I can be slightly less obsessed with Epic Musical, I may foil another one. So my next one would probably be the Donald Duck Buccaneer mat, because it has like very clear areas where you can put like gold and silver for his outfit. So that'll probably be my next one. But I think the other reason why I was foiling so much was because I can listen to Epic the Musical while I'm working on foiling the mat, whereas I cannot practice playing and also listen because I get distracted because the songs are just so good. So yeah, that is it for me. I'm very excited for this weekend to play at Sacramento. Hopefully I can be as lucky and as like, I don't know, like mentally there. I don't want to say mentally there like I'm insane the other times, but like focused enough to play well and hopefully win some cool stuff at Gold Star. And then I think upcoming in the future weeks, there's like a lot of competitions going on. So the other one we're going to this month is on the 20th. It's Bippity Boppity Brawl. And that one is organized by the same person. So Josie, who is organizing our like weekly one that we're in. And that one, you could potentially win like foil cards from the DLCs, like the foil Cinderella, I think, and the foil Rapunzel are up for winning. And then shortly after that, it'll be May, so it'll be time for set champs again. And the cycle continues, and hopefully eventually they'll announce some DLCs because we still have no news on any of that stuff. All right, so that is it for me. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I was going to talk about the deck that I played. Duh. Okay, so I will post a link to the deck in the description. It'll be a link, and you can look at like the other decks that were in the top 8 for the game Kastle competition. My deck is called Ruthlessness because that is a song from Epic the Musical that Poseidon sings. And since that's my current obsession, that is what I named the deck. It's funny because I look at all the other deck names and they're like Blue Steel, Red Blue, Game Castle. So this deck plays like your usual ramp stuff. So 4 tipos for sails. And then because it's Blue Steel, you have 4 popsicles for Fortispheres, aka 8 popsicles. And then of course you have the new bell because it's very important. Why not get a big old booty on board early? And then obviously it plays 4 Hierums. And that plays 4 Scrooge McDucks, which is the card that you can exert 4 of your items, and you can play this character for free. One thing that did trip me up is I sometimes forget that Great Stone Dragon comes in exerted, and so you can't use it for Scrooge immediately. It also plays, so 2 Great Stone Dragons, 2 Fishbone Quills. I'm not 100% sold on that many Fishbone Quills just because I felt like I inked it all the time, but it was very good when I played against like Amber Steel with A Whole New World. But I feel like most of the time I want to keep the cards in my hand. And then it plays 2 Lucky Dimes. And then in terms of Steel Songs, it plays 4 Let the Storm and Drawn, 4 Strengths, and 2 Zeuses. And then it also plays 1 Fire the Cannons. And then it plays both Tamatoas, only 3 of the big Tamatoas, and 4 of Teen Tamatoa. And that was mainly to make room for Cusco, who is there to get rid of like opposing dimes or Sapphire Coil, or like locations like a library or McDuck Manor. It's just easier to Cusco it than to try to attack it. And then there's Hades as another form of removal. And so yeah, that is the deck. I mean, I feel like pretty standard. I liked how it ran. I mean, you can't complain about being 3rd place with like some very good players. And so yeah, that is it for me, for real. And as always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables like me. Or in my case, nothing to play that is less than 6 ink costs, which is crazy. I think it was just a shuffling problem. So I need to work more on my shuffling. And all right, that's it for me. Bye.